All right, everybody, we're here with Cliff Olney. So can you tell us what's going on with the city?
Well, I saw the interview that Mr. Smith had last night with TV7, and I thought that it looked angry. I was surprised that he took that kind of a temperament toward it, especially when we all know so much about what happened. You can say whatever you want about Miss Gardner, but when you keep cutting men in her department or women, personnel, and then you're asking her to do the same amount of work, it really doesn't make much sense to me to see the city do that, because there's plenty of resources around here if you use your head and start thinking about what it is you could do to make more revenue. But these folks don't do that.
So we talk about revenue. What is your idea with the hydro plant and the electricity problem?
Well, it's a pretty simple situation. We got an agreement with National Grid for the next 10 years. And over that period of time, we'll make between $45 and $50 million. Well, what I have been proposing is that we sell that contract, the expiration out, to National Grid for a little bit of a discount, because we want to give them an incentive to do it, and then sell the electricity that we've been selling, the excess, to National Grid right now, to the residents of the city for 3 cents a kilowatt hour. Now, there's 17,000 homes in the city of Watertown. When you multiply that out times 3 cents a kilowatt hour, most people use about 900 kilowatt hours a month. You're talking about $27 a month times 17,000 homes. That's $5.5 million. That would replace the money we're making from National Grid right now. And over the course of the time, we'd have to expand the amount of production that we have over there, which we could do with the money that we got from National Grid. It's not a real complicated situation, but the excuse that they were giving was, well, we're going to have to replace all the wires or take over the replacement of the wires if there's an ice storm. No, we're going to allow National Grid to continue to do the delivery of the electricity, and people can buy their electricity from anyone right now because of deregulation, and that's as simple as it gets. But Mr. Smith, I think his intention is that this committee that he's formed, he says hasn't met yet. Well, I was told that some other people in the city, all the other committees have met, simply because there's Zoom. And the excuse he's using for them not having met, I think, is because he really wants to sell our power station, our plant, off over at Marble Street to some private developer. And he's just going to milk this contract out until the end of the contract in order to do just that. And then say, well, it's not feasible to have municipal power. Now, this plan that I have would save each resident in the city of Watertown $1,000 a year in electric costs. Now, you might get your power now for 3 cents a kilowatt hour. You might pay a little bit more, but on an average, it's a little bit higher than 3 cents. That's pretty much wholesale costs. And so when they say there's no foreseeable solution to this, it's as simple as math. And I don't know if this guy doesn't understand that, or if he just isn't willing to look at it. But I'll tell you, from after I watched him last night, and this whole problem wasn't anything to do with what Finn did to Miss Gardner, I mean, you'd have to be a real idiot to believe that excuse and that explanation. I mean, and nobody, don't make any mistake. I'm not fond of this mayor. I ran against him during the election last year. I know who he is. I know he likes to use a lot of mendacity, exaggerate, and outright lie to the public here in order to push things through. He thinks we're all, unaware of what he's doing. I suppose that the parking lot that he's building for Mr. Lundy up in the Watertown Golf Club up there isn't going to cost the taxpayers a penny. That's what he wants us all to believe? Seriously? I mean, okay, so my take on that situation is one of, it's the same thing. I mean, there's corruption. It's just no transparency. The public here deserves a lot better than what we have right now. There's only 2 people on that council that are representing us, and that's Lisa and Ryan. The other 3, anything Jeff Smith wants done, Sarah and Jesse go along. I don't know why, if they just don't do the research, or if they're afraid of him or something, or if they think he has good ideas, because as yet I haven't heard any good ideas from him, except for to destroy a perfectly good pool that there's no reason to, because we don't have the money. And then people believe that when there's a ton of money sitting over on the Black River to be developed. I mean, that's my take on it. So yeah.
Do you have any plans on running for any elected office?
I haven't decided yet. Right now, I've been bashing Trump on my Facebook page, and I'm taking a lot of heat from the incoming people that are supporting him around here. I do my research. So I understand. I like honest politicians. And as yet, I haven't really found that many of them.
Well, I'm going to be running for a city council seat coming up here next year. So what advice would you have for me for the first time running?
What advice? Well, I got a lot of research that I'll be glad to give you that you can look into and see if there's anything you'd like to talk about. There's the city, there's so much that we could accomplish here as a community. It's just not being done because the people that keep getting elected by the people that elect them think that they're working on their behalf, and they're not. They got a small group of people that benefit from every decision that's made in this city. It's always been like that. The reason I ran the last couple of times is in order to get a pool built again up in the park and get a settlement with our fire department. And unfortunately, we got both of those done. But no sooner do we get some progress than you get a knucklehead that comes in, elected as mayor, decides to destroy a pool for no good reason. So, I mean, we try to make progress, and then we see somebody like that get elected that's totally against progress. And so my advice to you would be, good luck.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You got to convince the people of the city that it's worth fighting for and that more can be done here than what they believe is possible, because for years they've been beaten down so much and told, oh, we can't afford it. My God, we're sitting on a gold mine, we've been told we can't afford to shovel. It's the Black River right over there. Nobody is looking at what can be done here as far as progress. And I don't understand why people are so willing to go along with the corruption that they have for the many years, and they continue to elect the same people back to office that aren't working on their behalf. But then that's what they do. So, you know, I wasn't discouraged by the losses. I mean, you either win or you learn something. And the problem here is the people aren't winning, and they're not learning something from the people that they keep voting into office. So I don't know. I'm going to have to wait to see what I see happening after the first of the year before I make a decision.
Well, with Mayor Smith only winning a third of Watertown's votes, I think there's a great opportunity to have a new mayor the next election cycle.
Well, you know, that would be great if he would resign, you know, find out, or say that the job wasn't worth it for him. He's going to be in there for 3 more years, and we're going to have to suffer that, unfortunately. And then he's got 2 people that are willing to vote with him on every single issue, no matter what kind of sense it makes. So basically what we're going to have is 2 more people that would run, maybe get in there next time, and you're going to be in the middle of a fight for the next 2 years until he's up for re-election. So I don't see a lot of changes being made. No matter what kind of argument you make before these guys that are in there right now, it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. And the reason I say that is the last time we went down and fought on behalf of the Altieri pool, several of us stood up there and talked about that and gave all good reasons for not doing it. They had already decided, because afterwards I saw your video from what you had done and interviewed them out in the parking lot, and they had made their decision before they even came in and listened to any of us. I mean, so what kind of leadership is that, where you don't even bother to take into consideration the very views of the people that you're supposed to be representing, and then you go in with a decision you've already decided to make? And you made that very clear in your video, which is one thing that I feel that you've done a really important job in this community of doing, is getting them on video and then holding them to account for what it is that they've decided before they've told the rest of us, because that was great, man. I had to use a clip of that.
Yeah, I seen that clip, and I was surprised to see how many views it actually got. But I'm just doing what I can to expose the lies that are going on here, because I've only been aware maybe a couple years of all these lies that are going on. So that's why I'm trying to hold these elected officials accountable.
Well, they've had plenty of opportunity to hold themselves accountable. And the one thing I did notice is that when people have different information, they have the actual truth and the facts, will make different decisions about what they want to see and who they want in there representing them. Now, recently I sent a letter to all of the city or the county legislators about taking over the cost payments of the maintenance of the Altieri pool. Sent them a nice letter explaining that they took over the airport. They did a great job with the Watertown airport after they took that over. And now you look at it and see what kind of an investment it's been because of that effort. They could do the same thing with parks and recreation here in the city, with other things that could be invested in. And if the city says that they're short, and I know they're not, on money as far as maintenance, then maybe the city, these assets like the park pool and other pools in the city could be looked at as a county-wide asset, and the county could kick in something toward maintenance. None of them responded, other than to say that I would have to wait to come in. None of them got up off their high horse. One told me that they didn't want to interfere with what the city was doing. Well, you know, that's what leadership is about. You have to interfere. You have to stand up. You have to say, this is what we need to do. and they're more bureaucrats than anything. I mean, they'd be great at administering a program or a project that's been created or discussed. But as far as coming up with the ideas that they need in order to move this area forward, none of them have any. And that's why we stay stagnant in this area.
All right, one more question for you.
Sure.
Would you consider being my campaign manager for me running for a city council seat?
I don't know if I'd be doing you a favor by doing that. I mean, they may hear that you're associated with me and know what my politics are. I was asked before if I could get along with people if I got in there. And I knew what they were
I'm
asking.
Republican, you're Democrat.
That's fine. I have nothing against Republicans, the old style Republican. I used to be one myself. I changed party because they no longer represented me. And I saw them more interested in their own interests, not the people that they're supposed to go in there for to represent. I would have to reserve that to decide first if I'm going to run. And I'm not looking at running right now because of what I see going on and the unwillingness of people to actually stand up, get off their couch, go out and get involved, like some of us do. But if you do, I've seen that you made a public apology basically for the incident that happened before in the flag, and I think that was a good step, and I also believe that you can be a strong force and advocate for some of the changes that we need to make in the community, especially with the videos you do and the interviews that you've been getting.
All right, thank you.
That's encouraging.
Thank you, Cliff. I
No,
appreciate
thank you.
that.
I appreciate your time.
And thank you for your time.